Janatan Sayeh, he joins us now. He is a research analyst at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Janatan, welcome. So what do you make of this latest development, and how close do you think Iran is to having a nuclear weapon?
Well, Iran is practically a nuclear threshold at this point, and their nuclear program surged under the previous administration. The issue at hand is whether a deal would in fact be sufficient to curb Iran's capabilities. And the 2015 JCPOA agreement proved that it's in fact not capable of doing so, because Iran time and time again has demonstrated its lack of transparency when it comes to its nuclear issue. They have numerous different sites that they never declared under the previous agreement, and they will continue to enrich uranium as we speak. For the Islamic Republic, their nuclear program continues to be a main deterrent, giving their fragile military and increasing dissent internally. They see this as an existential threat, which is why they continue to keep their nuclear program.
Yeah. So the Trump administration has vowed a return to maximum pressure. Janatan, do you think that does anything? Does that make any kind of difference here?
It certainly does. So we saw today with the Treasury Department sanctioning more and more Chinese entities that were involved in enabling Iran's ballistic missile program and drone manufacturing capabilities. So the maximum pressure campaign would have numerous pillars in curbing Iran's threats, which are primarily three threats: one being nuclear, the other one being ballistic missile program, and the third layer being their terrorist militias across the region. So long as the cash flow inside Tehran is blocked by the maximum pressure campaign, and ideally supporting dissent inside the country, supporting Iranian activists that are aligned with U.S. values, could have a very devastating impact on the Islamic Republic.
Let's talk about these ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas. Israel now says it won't pull out of this particular corridor in Gaza after initially saying that it would. What security risks does Israel see in withdrawing from the Gaza corridor, and how justified are those concerns about weapons being smuggled in?
Well, this fragile truce may now be entering an even more precarious state. On one hand, Hamas, although has expressed its willingness to negotiate for a second phase, it is very unlikely for it to abandon its military capabilities. On one hand, Prime Minister Netanyahu has pledged to destroy Hamas, and not delivering on this promise would mean that his coalition becomes weaker and might ignite early elections in Israel. I think the key issue here at hand, and the key element, would be the stance from Washington. President Trump has been very vocal and has a very staunch stance against Israel and, of course, American adversaries. So Hamas needs to tread very carefully.
And just a few seconds left, but what did you take away from that IDF report about the military failures leading up to October 7th?
Ultimately, our adversaries, their capabilities are not going to inherently halt just because we are amplifying pressure on them. The main issue at hand when it comes to Hamas's capabilities is that they're increasing their military ties to both Iran, and they're receiving funding from Qatar. So long as these regimes are supporting these terrorist networks, and so long as there's a foundation for them to build upon, these threats will continue to endanger American and Israeli lives in the region.
Okay, Janatan Sayeh with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, thank you for coming on the show.